heard a crazy idea today about a 50-year mortgage. Oh, wow. So the average person is in their house for 12 years, and I got a 30-year mortgage, which means I'm not really putting very much into it because the bank is taking all of the interest rates for the first, 10 years at least. They're taking all the interest first. And then I don't really start paying on my house off until the last 15 years of that mortgage. But now, instead of a 30-year, you want me to do it for 50 years? Oh.
I think one of the conversations that need to be had, and they haven't had this, is the amortization schedule. So if you don't know what the amortization schedule is, the interest on homes are not computed like how based on simple interest, like if you take a car loan, for example, right? With homes, they have a table where a lot of the interest is taken up front and very little goes to the principal. So the average mortgage, for example, if you take a loan on a $400,000 home and you stay in it for all 30 years, you would have paid a little over $1 million if you kept that home for all 30 years. But because they know that people don't stay in their homes that long, the banks want to maximize. And then homes, even though you may appreciate on value in terms of um, how these homes are built, remember we built it with sticks here, right? Uh, Other homes have more problems. So the banks don't want to repossess a home that is 30 years old, right? Most of the times, even if the valuation has gone up when they do an appraisal, when they do a raw appraisal, the property may not have that much value. The land may, but not the property because of their depleted state that you'd find a home in 30 years after the fact. So it works in banks' favors, and they'll give the loan, so they have to get their money, right. If it's not in their advantage, they won't sell the product. But they want to get their money up front. So the first 10 years of your mortgage, you're really paying the bank. It's free money, free interest, which makes people want to argue the fact, is it actually worth it to for example, like the people that do no money down or do FHA loans where you put only 3.5% down, very low down payment. Most people's focus is how much money they pay every month. They don't really focus on how much the loan is costing them. And I think that is where the focus should be. The affordability of home ownership makes people make those decisions based on how much they pay monthly and not whether this is a good investment for them. And a good housing market over the 30-year span, a home would have probably appreciated maybe 10 to 12%, which is not really great, right? It's not great. You're not going to get those crazy pricing that we had due to the pandemic. This is, things are starting to level off and settle down a little bit. So it makes me really wonder, like, I know that they're doing a 50-year, they're proposing a 50-year, so that yes, the bank's gonna make a killing, right? If when they do that, but your payments are gonna be lower, and you're gonna end up paying even more, right? It's gonna cost you a lot more over that long stretch. Also, due to the long stretch, the banks may be forced to charge a little bit more interest than the standard interest rates. So uh, maybe government backed programs would work, like the FHA, the hard programs, USDA programs. Those may work because they're backed by the government. But I don't think a bank would want to underwrite a 50-year loan, even if they're charging the interest up front, because you're spreading it over 50 years. The monthly payments, interest payments, will still be lower. So on a 30-year loan, the bank would be getting about $1,000 a month in interest payments. Now the bank would be getting $700 a month because they have to push that through a 50-year term. So it may not be in favor of the banks in terms of private loans, but it will be in the favor of the government because it's going to make people able to afford homes. But here's a catch: that is not going to do anything to the price of homes. I think this is why government intervention in real estate healthcare is never a good idea. You just have to let the free markets work. And the housing market is not working properly since that Frank because of heavy government involvement. You just have to let the failures drop and you have to let the capitalists win. So the people that don't make good decisions are going to fail. And that's just how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to be responsible for your own um, actions, right? And I feel like the West is starting to move so much into a socialist construct where we care about everybody and we want to fix everybody's problems to where now even the conservative government, quote unquote conservative government, is starting to propose very classical socialist policies such as a 50-year mortgage. It's absolutely nuts. The win is that it's going to make payments affordable, but it's going to make rich people richer. It's going to make poor people much poorer because that you're not going to get any equity in those loans in those homes for you to even leverage that to get credit, which is why I think it's a horrible idea. But let's see. I want to hear from Glenn Beck here.
Oh, oh, okay. Well, what is that going to do? Well, first of all, it's going to raise the price of the house. I mean, if everybody starts to get able to, well, I get a 50-year mortgage, so I can afford a house. We have a shortage of housing, so the mortgages, the house payments, the house prices are going to go up because we have a lack of housing. And then on top of it, you're going to double the payment anyway because you're paying all that extra interest. You're just charging more and stretching it out. It's like solving hunger by not giving food, but just giving longer straws to people. Okay, wait, what? You're going to pay double for the same house. It means double the interest rates. And while your roof has to be repaired, the brand new wiring that you had when you bought the
And in case you're confused by what it means by double the interest rate, here's how it works. The interest rate that is quoted on your mortgage application when you sign, the 5% is 5.5, the 5.56%, whatever it is. It's not the total interest that you pay. So the rate of interest that you're going to pay is actually the APR annually, what you'd pay. If you compound all that together, the percentage rate will be much higher than what the book is saying. So the book is probably going to list 5.5, but because you've upfronted so much interest, PMI, and all these other fees that is tacked on, when you do that as a percentage of that principal, your real or actual interest rate is going to be somewhere north of 8-9%, right? If you don't believe me, go and look at your mortgage statements right now. Compute how much interest you've paid. If you're not really advanced mathematically like that, you can use ChatGPT. Just plug in the numbers that you see on your statement, and you'd realize that your annual APR is actually higher than the interest rate that is stated. You will not be paying that 5.5% that is on your loan. You're going to be paying a little bit more than what is actually listed on your loan documentation.
house all needs to be redone. The appliances have to be replaced. The bathroom is completely out of date. It all has to be replaced again. You're still paying on that house. Okay, this is like buying not one house, but two houses, and it's not freedom. It is trapping you. And, what really bothers me is it is home ownership. No, I'm sorry. It's renting disguised as home ownership. That's what that is. You're not going to build equity into a house like that. You won't own your home until you're in your 80s. And if you bought it later in life, your children are going to inherit the payments that you have. It masks the problem that we really...
Yeah, and one thing, I just saw some data actually out there that most Americans are buying homes in their 40s. The age for when people buy homes now in the US is 40. It's gone up from 35 since 2021. Since 2021, or just in 4 years, we've moved the goalpost plus 5 years. So people are buying homes late into their 40s. Now you say, Nana, you just bought a home and I'm 41. Yes, but this is my third home that I've purchased, right? So I bought one in my 20s. in North Dakota, about one in Allen, also in my 30s. And then I've leveraged all that money to buy a much bigger place now. So, and I have more than 20% down on this one. So that, you see what I mean? So it's a lot different with a bit more cash left. I could have paid a little bit more, but I just want it's newer property, so I know equity wise I'm in good shape. So I didn't want to give up all my capital. But this is a difference from that data point was for first time home buyers. So these are people that are buying homes for the first time, and the average age for first time home buyers have gone up to 40 years old. So if you do a 50-year mortgage as a 40-year-old and you decide to stay in your house, you'd be paying for that house well into your 90s. It's such a bad idea. I don't know where the Trump administration is getting this from. If I'm Democrats, I'll be celebrating it because they love this stuff, right? Government intervening into loans. This is why I also, when people say, "Are you a Trump?" Not really, because this is not the conservatism that I want. I still think he's better than than Kamala or the Democrats in general, but I'm just doing with what I can get. I just want pure plain textbook Austrian based economics. Austrian based economics, pure capitalism, 100% winners and losers. Let's compete. That's what I like. But we're not going to get that nowadays with all the social programs all across the world. Everybody panics about their citizens and they just don't want to do what systemically works, which is, I think, free market economics.
That we really have is home prices, because we don't have enough homes. We also have these giant corporations that are buying up homes en masse and then renting them to us. And we also have prices for the home that is broken from the wage. A 50-year mortgage is like giving somebody a longer plank, on a sinking ship. No, I mean, I'm going to end up in the water anyway. I guess that's helpful in a strange sort of way. What we don't understand is these are the conditions in which socialism thrives.
Yep. Which is exactly what I said. This is just a socialist construct. I'm glad that he brings this up. I'm a pro free market capitalist. I studied economics at a very high level, so I understand why my economic philosophy, leans more classical, conservative. And I know it works. I've tested cases. I know it works. But obviously, in modern times, a lot of countries really want to have some type of a mix of a social program with the economics, which is at conflict with each other. And this is why we're having a housing crisis. If the housing market is profitable, there would be a lot more builders right now building these homes at a higher rate, low cost for people to be able to afford, which means that the supply side needs to come up. If there are no these tariffs and all these barriers that are put in place that affects the free market, all these products will will be a bit of demand and supply, and they will form what we call equilibrium in economics, which will decide the price directions, right? When if there's more supply of a product, the prices will go down. So there has to be a point of collision, which is your equilibrium point, which would be what the price would be. And we're not getting that because the government keeps taking doing policies that hit the supply side and also policies that hit the demand side, like the talk of giving tariff money to low income people. That is also very socialist. So these are, if you voted for Trump thinking that you're getting pure conservatism and pure free market capitalism, you're getting a lot of it. You're probably getting 70%, but you're getting also some 30% of his own ideology, which is these little social programs. Remember, he's a New Yorker. So internally, he feels the need to take care of people, which is not a bad thing. But what it does is that it really affects uh, productivity, it affects supply, which pushes these prices up and makes poor people poorer. That's what I believe. That's my hot take. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you. Let me know what your thoughts are. We'll see you in the next one.